It's time to dust off your most recent copy of the Survivor rulebook, because today we're going to be talking about a survivor who just wasn't happy with how a killer played against them, going so far as to even insult them personally after the game had ended. And yes, you did read the title right, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First of all, if you enjoyed this type of video, why not leave a like and subscribe? It's free. It literally costs you nothing. It takes like 1 second and it could be a good deed for the day. So, you know, wins all round. So please do consider if you haven't subscribed already and help me reach my 5,000 goal by the end of this year. And without much further ado, let's get on to the video. So, a couple of weeks ago, I loaded into a match against a Legion who basically seemed to be having a really bad game. They didn't actually get their second hook until the end game, and it was on the person who they had been chasing for basically the entire game, and that person was a Jake. Now, because the killer had no ed, we unfortunately couldn't really do much about getting a save, so the Jake died and the rest of us escaped. And I found out after the game had ended that the killer was actually a TTV by the name of Not Sam. And as I always do, I decided to pop in and give him a GG well played and just say, you know, thanks for a good game and check out his overall vibe. And when I popped in, I found that the Jake was actually already in his chat. And it turns out that this Jake and the streamer had actually played against each other a couple of games prior. It was very clear that the Jake and the streamer were not getting along at all. So let's journey back to the original game and find out what happened, shall we? Now, before we watch this game, I do need to issue a trigger warning. To all you sensitive survivor mains out there, you may need to turn away, because this game contains a killer who camps and tunnels. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire game because honestly there's no need to, but I do want to start by showing you the part of the game that caused the biggest problem with this Jake and the streamer.
And he dead zoned himself. But I'm not going to take any chances, to be honest. I couldn't place a bird, I was too close to the hook. I'll camp out this stage if I have to.
So, as you saw, Not Sam tunneled from pretty much the start of the game and also camped the hook to ensure that they got the kills. Now, before any entitled survivor mains hop into my comments and tell me how much this killer deserved what's coming to him, let's talk about 3 things. Number 1, Not Sam had a tome challenge, which was to kill 12 survivors. So presumably his playstyle here was just to ensure that he got these kills quickly and efficiently. Number 2, when it comes to the camping aspect of that clip, you saw the survivors constantly hanging around the area and trying to dive bomb the unhook. So why would the killer leave? He knows that he has 2 people who aren't working on gens and are doing nothing to advance the objectives, and he can secure at least 1 hook phase, as we saw, and possibly the kill. In that moment, it made complete sense for him to camp. And number 3, and this is probably the most important one, killers can play in any way they want. If a killer wants to tunnel, they can tunnel. If a killer wants to camp, they can camp. If they want to do neither of those things, then that's up to them. It's a game. It's pixels on a screen. So the game goes on and the killer pretty much tunnels everybody who he chases, which again is fair. And then we get down to the last 2 survivors, and this is what happens.
There's too much to play with here. Watch the dead herds. That's fine.
And there you go, 4K, game is over. But it's never that easy, is it? A couple of the survivors then come into Not Sam's stream and start giving him shit. But the one that I want to focus on today is this one. We're going to call him Joey. I'm not going to reveal his full name. And he is the person who will later become our Jake in the match that I mentioned at the start of this video. So Joey comes into his stream and sends this message. Hook camping and slugging for a 4K, even though it's the same as 3K and no ed. Uninstall and give up streaming, man. Ya ain't that good, ya dog shit. Now there's a bit to break down here, I think. Let's start with the idea that 4K is the same as a 3K. No, it isn't. I don't mean to question your math skills here, Joey, but the last time I checked, the number 4 is not the same as the number 3. In fact, the 4 is actually bigger, which means that a 4K is actually better than a 3K. He also comments that the killer had NOED, but when did the killer ever use it? Like, it didn't even come into play. They were all dead before the endgame collapse anyway. Survivors seem to do this so much. You know, they'll complain about NOED and they'll blame their loss on NOED as well. But in this case, you can't blame the loss on NOED. It didn't come into play. So, you know, you just lost. And then he says, give up streaming. Now, honestly, Notsam handled this situation pretty well. He didn't seem fazed at all by what the guy was saying, and he just kind of banned him pretty quickly and then got on with the rest of his games. But this message really pissed me off. I'm not trying to bag on Notsam here. He's a really good guy, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but he doesn't have a massive community. He's only just hit 100 followers, and, you know, he seems to be fairly new to the streaming game. Saying things like this to somebody when they've just started streaming because you lost against them in a video game, it can be so degrading, and overall it's just pathetic. Things like this can genuinely get under people's skin, and you can genuinely ruin a person's dream of being a content creator by sending messages like this. All because you lost in a video game. Like, is that really the person that you want to be? Honestly, guys, to everybody watching this video, if you ever see anybody do this in somebody's chat, please go and just throw heaps of praise at the streamer. Just let them know that they are loved and appreciated and that you enjoy their content, because honestly, these kind of comments can be really damaging. I guess the PSA of this video, if you will, there you go, an action tip, a little bit of homework, I guess. But to be fair, as I said, Notsam takes it really well and actually makes a little bit of a joke out of it.
Sorry, Phoebes. Joey said I should give up streaming. It's the end of the line for me.
And to this, Joey says, yeah, you should, not gonna lie. Nobody wants to watch a little bitch hook camping, relying on NOED because they're dog shit at killer. Typical Irish killers, man. All they do is eat potatoes and whine about IRA like bore off. Now, before we get into the second part of that message, I just want to again pick up on this NOED thing, this relying on NOED because they're dog shit. Number one, NOED didn't come into play, so again, you cannot blame your loss on the perk. And number two, if he's dog shit at killer, then what does that make you, Joey? Because you lost to him, and he's dog shit. So what are you? And then we get on to some of the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen a salty survivor throw at somebody in the whole time I've been doing this. Typical Irish killers, man. All they do is eat potatoes and whine about IRA, bore off. Now, there's a lot I could say about this, but honestly, does it need to be said? Do we need to analyze how pathetic it is to bring someone's nationality into an argument about a video game? Do we need to acknowledge the fact that if a game made you this mad, this upset, this pathetic, that you felt the need to insult somebody and discriminate against them based on their country of origin, then you need to go outside and touch some grass really quickly? Probably not, no. What I do want to say in this instance, though, is that Notsam, again, handled this very, very well. He didn't clap back at the guy. He just kind of banned him and just carried on playing. Which, considering what the guy actually said to him, is actually really impressive. You know, not everybody would have been this kind or this forgiving, me included. And that leads us back to the game that I mentioned at the start of this video, the one in which I encountered Notsam. So pretty much straight off the bat, he encounters me and the Jake. He misses a hit on me, he gets a hit on the Jake, and so chooses to continue the chase with the Jake and try and get the down on him, which is absolutely fair. And you know what, while the Jake doesn't do too badly in the chase, Notsam does manage to get him down with 4 gens left. And then after hooking him and looking for somebody else to chase, 2 gens pop before the Jake gets unhooked again. So at this point, Notsam understandably decides to keep putting pressure on the Jake to try and secure at least 1 kill and maybe try and bring the pressure of the game back in his direction. And then he notices the name of the Jake.
Fuck me, this is a 1k game. Wait, this is Joey. Now it's definitely a 1k game.
And he does in fact tunnel the Jake and secure the kill on him, like I said earlier. Now at some point during the game prior to this one, Joey had somehow been unbanned in Notsam's stream and was therefore able to send messages again after this game. And this is what he said. 5 gen chase just to lose. I died but still doubled your points. I think Joey was perhaps left behind at school. Earlier he said 4 and 3 were the same, and now he says 5 gen chases, but 5 and 1 are also different numbers, bud. And then in response to something that Not Sam says, he says, but yeah, I'm fuming inside, laughing because you couldn't catch me. Yeah, couldn't catch him. The guy even then goes as far as to attack the streamer's mods, saying, get a real job, not a mod job, climb out of his ass, because the mod was defending Notsam against a salty survivor who was the one who was obviously being an asshole in this situation. He then makes a few more comments about Notsam being Irish, saying things like, it's this Tato, and I had a 4-leaf clover that game. You know, really original stuff. And then he ends his little episode with, anyways, if I get you again, I'll look forward to the 5-gen chase, cause ya ass. Again, I don't mean to burst your bubble here, Joey, but he beat you twice. You know, once, maybe you can make these kind of comments and get away with it, but twice, that just shows that he's definitely better than you. Just saying. And obviously, you know, I was there in the chat, I saw all of these comments, and that's why I actually reached out to Notsam and asked him if he was okay with me making this video. And he was very accommodating, and he was very happy to have it made, and said that he wanted people like this to be exposed and to have their true colors you know, shown. And I entirely agree with that. And it's actually why I make these videos. You know, I've had people recently just accuse me of trying to chase the view numbers with these kind of videos, because obviously there's a lot of videos on YouTube at the moment talking about toxic and salty behavior in the community. And like, that's not why I make them personally. I make them because I genuinely like Dead by Daylight for the most part, which is why I play it a lot, which is why I play it on stream. But the community can easily ruin it. Time and time again, and it's people like this who are the problem. The more we call out this kind of behavior and acknowledge how pathetic and stupid it actually is, the more chance we have of stamping it out and creating an environment that's actually fun to be a part of, and a community that's actually, you know, nice to engage with. So on that note, please do go and check out Notsam and go and give him all the love, because as you saw, I think he handled this situation really well. And I think we need more people like him in the community. You know, more people who don't react to the toxicity or stoop down to that level of people like Joey. And I've watched a few of his games now, and he regularly gets shit for his playstyle, and he regularly gets people coming into his chat to be salty and to be horrible to him. So I'm sure he'd really appreciate you guys going and sending him some love. So his link will be down in the description if you want to check him out. But that will do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And if you have a salty survivor or a salty killer or a toxic streamer that you think I should know about, please do drop me a whisper on Twitch. My DMs are open, and I'd love to hear it from you guys. You know, this is where I get a lot of my content from. So please hit me up. Have a great day, guys. Go out there and be the best damn Kronks that you can be, and bye for now.
So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never, you know I'm taking that crown from you.